Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 26 of Euclid, our vanilla Cities 2 build. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Last episode we introduced supply chains for the first time with the grain, slaughterhouses and athletic wear factory on a more industrial side of our new town of Hull on Days, of course. In today's episode, let's move across the other side of the highway to develop our town centre and some initial outer-lying residential. Alongside lots of fun detailing against the highway network cutting right through the middle of the new town here. We won't fill all of this space today. I'm imagining the southern half of the town will be filled with a kind of edge of town outlet mall, which I think we can have some fun using the new supply chain buildings in a future episode. Either way today, let's develop a brand new town centre and population centre for Holland Days. Welcome back to Euclid, everyone. Well everyone, I was just about to begin what was hopefully going to be a joyful episode. However, we're opening with death and destruction, as there's been a massive pile up on the highway. What's happened here? Got a trailer over here. Is there a cab? Oh, it went. Oh, is it fixed? So we've got a caravan down here. And that's gone. Okay. Horrendous scenes. Doesn't like anyone died, thankfully. Either way, today we're going to be working on these areas over here. So we'll come into our town centre first of all. Now, last episode we actually had a comment to let me know that these tram stops are currently broke that were added with the patch that brought the bikes, which is super annoying because I've thoroughly integrated them into the town. So we will await a fix, hopefully in the not too distant future. In the meantime, using some temporary tram stops, and then we'll just move this white line down on the other side. Cool. So when they're back in, we'll actually use them. Until that point, we can't. So to help complement our train and tram infrastructure here, I think I'd also love to introduce a bus hub. So we got a couple of choice of buildings now. The bus station. Wouldn't mind having a more substantial bus station here. So why don't we try the city bus? I don't think we've used this one before yet, have we? I really love the visual of a parking lot on the roof as well. That'd be quite nice there, I think, wouldn't it? With said buses, we should have plenty of capacity still. There's a few bus depots knocking around. I'm going to use the bus stop with bicycle stands, I think. And we'll feed a system through that doubles back on itself. That sort of complements the tram. We'll send it up into Suburbia. And then it can, and again, I've mentioned there's going to be a bit of an outlet more here, so this grid's likely to change, but the bus can obviously pass through that as well. And then come and chill down here with the tram. We'll have a couple of convergence points. And then, can we get two in here? Will this look weird? It might do. We can probably make a bit of a feature out of that with some plaza work and a park by the two transit stops there. And then let's get these lines running here. Super. So I've also named them as well Holland Days West A and B. So we can refer to them in the future if we need them. That'll give us some more transit. Let's start getting some people around here. We also mentioned last episode about possibly bringing in some supply chains, commercial buildings here. And we touched on the brand and lifestyle centre, didn't we? We actually placed this during the episode. I think it's just such a nice main street building, isn't it? Especially when it's flat up against the road like that. I think we'll have that there then. We did also want further services last episode. We had a graveyard over there. I'd love to have the Dutch graveyard to this side of the street because we haven't used it in the series yet. Let's also give these guys some healthcare out here. We can do, again, something pretty small and discreet. Don't want anything major, but I think possibly open to medium density here. And that Eastern European clinic does settle in quite nicely, doesn't it? Yeah, okay, we'll have that there then on the way up to the street. I probably want this road to come out as well now, because I definitely want more density in the immediate vicinity of the train station. Let's bring this. Right, that's probably our most sensible connection there, is it? Bring that out and then straight across. Can we have a nice time? Do we want another rail crossing here? We could easily accommodate it. I guess it's not rail, is it? I guess it's tram. I guess technically light rail, I suppose. But yeah, I like that node there. We'll go with that, sure. And I'd also like to use, I think, some of the Dutch residential here. Again, it's not a pack we've used tons of. So bringing some people in, I think I'd like to have a look at some Dutch medium density housing for this. Now, can I get 3x3 there? I'm going to zone that whole block up to be Dutch medium density. We can use services to detail this awkward inner grass space. I just want to see how this bulk zones in. We'll try some different styles. Yeah, so we have healthcare in. Let's also bring a police station in. Again, if we're going Dutch, do we want to go full Dutch? Maybe we do today. Try break away from using the southwest zone in. Because it's my favourite thing in the world. Yeah, okay. I think I want this a little closer to town though. A little more running around that initial square here. I think there. I'll probably use my surfaces to pull this out onto the corner. And there'll be plenty of fountains, benches, hot dog stands to bring here. Super. Literally is one of my favourite things about CS2, that. Fountain there as well. Let's use some of these new skyscraper benches. A couple of bins on the corner. This would be a great spot for some bike parking as well, actually, wouldn't it? Let's get that in here. Let's do... Which one do we want to use? Large. Interesting. It almost looks as though it's zoning as commercial, that, doesn't it, within the zoning grid? Interesting. Okay. We'll detail this with extra pathways and whatnot to help them settle in. But we'll have a lot of bike parking around here. Also, speaking of that, while we're on the subject, let's maybe bring in some more significant bike parking buildings over this way. We've also got these Dutch car parks, which don't really scream car park, do they? These are very repurposable. We won't have that there. We'll move that down the street a little bit. Maybe next door to our building here. Although I probably want to save a bit of room just to detail the back of that building. So I'll leave myself a tile here to create a bit of an alleyway. Police are in, of course. We have fire across the other side of the highway, so I don't think there's a need for another one here. Schools will certainly have elementary. The other ones, though, I'm saving the high school, college, and university buildings for the Yokeley campus, of course. I don't want to place any of these here, but we'll certainly have an elementary. And then maybe here. And then I can begin to see how we're going to wrap up a lot of fun little green belt around the back of this school. It's also got very extendable surfaces here as well, hasn't it? I bet we can have a lot of fun here. I think I am still going to bring in the pathway behind the building. So this way we can make it all walkable, and then we'll play with those surfaces to really open it up. And we've got kind of an entrance there, haven't we? So let's have a path come that way. And any other discernible doors we can possibly take advantage of here. Another one here, I suppose. We'll come down the side, and then there. So something along those sorts of lines with our surfaces, and then return into that bike parking idea again. Let's also add in a cycling hall here, which will allow us to just give some more further surface work up into these little inner city spaces, which is really where I think CS2 Vanilla shines quite a bit above its predecessor. How about that, right? And then perhaps some tasteful gardens using a cultivated bush here too. Bring this across. Some larger trees perhaps as well, thinking some oaks here. They're a bit more mature. Super. And then we'll bring this up and down. Special. So there's some really nice ideas tying two pretty simple assets together. Screwing a bit of bike parking, but we can make such an interesting space out of that, can't we? Probably warrants some commercial tables and chairs, perhaps. Full of benches, maybe, within this space. Bin or two. Or some place for the students to leave their trash. Yeah, really like that. Just a little tucked in space. Makes all the difference to a city build, doesn't it? There we go. Hello, people. We can finally see the true extent of the trams now. Very good. How did our Dutch medium density work out? I really like that. I really like that, actually. However, the block is too big, isn't it? I can fill this one with... I mean, how deep are these assets? Pretty much maximum 3, so we want a 6 deep grid, don't we? Is there any way we can accommodate that here? What are you? Yeah, we can probably do it here, you know. I did mention I wanted some front-facing vibes on this frontage, so if I'm a fan of this aesthetic, we'll go with that. So we've got 3 here, 3 there. That's going to be our 6 deep grid marker. Very nice. I guess with all the cycling around here, the Dutch medium density. Probably going to make a fair bit of sense, isn't it? Do that same thing again, that. Look at the bus lines as well. Yeah, people parking their bikes. That's such a good little bus stop, that, isn't it? With the bike stands on it. Let's also make this walkable. We'll just draw a little pathway across there. Are you functioning now? Are you receiving your stuff? Yeah, you're making profit. Software to produce media. Oh, let's also bring a post office in here as well. And we've got the Dutch one to use. Which means that's going to sit basically perfectly right next door to that parking building, isn't it? So I suppose we'll do that. Really nice main street fillers, those buildings, aren't they? From the Dutch pack. Commercial demand is spiking again. So let's have a look what we can possibly use here. And the town is very much within the older red brick vibe, isn't it? So I think our only possible sensible choice is going to be the northeast stuff. So we'll go with that. I think pretty much this whole block down Main Street is going to be commercial. There'll be tons of extendable surface work we can do in this block as well. Sure. What did that school do to our education demands? We could probably do with some upgrades. Got an extension wing here. See if we can place these a little more manually to maximize our space. We got 2 in here. No, it's a little too shallow, isn't it? That's okay. We can always place another one. But that actually really helps my plaza aesthetic here, doesn't it, with that extension wing? Which will further complement with a little bit more out here as well. Fantastic. Lightly continue the pathwork there. I'll say there is something very enjoyable about small town CS2 building. I think it's the surfaces you can spend so much more time in them with the surfaces, you know. And that's what does it for me. People cycling here. I'll give you some bike lanes if you're coming down this way. Come on in. We also want to extend this on this couplet system. Probably not, I don't think, actually. No, we won't keep it there. I will, however, also send it down here. There's 42 passengers currently waiting here, so it looks like it's starting to get a bit of use. I imagine there's probably another bus line. Ignore these guys down here. I did delete a load of stone producing industry, and now they're all complaining that they don't have any stone. But they'll have to wait until they get the ore mine for that, I'm afraid. Untoward that point, there is also another bus interface down here that we created ages ago. That isn't currently plugged in anywhere. So I think we'll create a bus line that runs back into from Shelton, stopping at all this residential here. Yeah, that should be fine. Stop again as you come into town, and then finally get the bus stop But definitely more of a shuttle service, this one. We'll just send it back to Shelton. And that is our Shelton to Hollandaise shuttle. That should hopefully drive some more people back and two between the towns. Of course, the trams are also covering the same distance. And the trains as well, I suppose. But there are more people arriving via train, which is great. There's not tons of cars passing through the town, really, is there? Highways aren't too bad. A lot of people walking, which is good. Wonderful. I am an enormous fan of this. Really quite special, that, isn't it? I think we'll have quite a bit of this here. Accommodate some more 6x6, and then want to take a look at that Dutch cemetery as well. Looks like we are going full Dutch today, everyone. Everyone's going. I guess we could also do this back street. You'll probably zone in correctly, will you? Possibly. We'll see. Yeah, it looks like it grows in too deep as well. Okay, we'll do that whole block residential then. Drive some population into this area. I think as well also just why I'm here. One of those Cities Skylines visions, everyone, you know, when you can see something. I was going to draw it myself, or do I want it on the road? No, I think I'll draw it myself. 12 meters is a little intense. Let's perhaps go for 20. Just, I can see a tree line in front of those buildings, you know. It's just exactly what I wanted. Super. Let's talk about the dead. So I'm probably going to need a bit more room for this, because they can become quite substantial. Death care is a permanent issue in Yokeley, so we will continue to try and remedy it using the Dutch graveyard, which from Revo is, I think, easily the best death care building Cities Skylines received across any game. This is true modularity and just absolutely gorgeous. If you didn't check this out in the showcase, the Dutch Cemetery, which is free to download, by the way. All these assets are free. It comes with many different upgrades. There's crematoriums, and it's all modular, right? You see how it all snaps together? It just works, to quote Todd Howard. For the most part, when I'm trying to snap it, there you go, right? It's amazing. There's a hearse garage, columbariums, ponds, small burial sites. Like, there's so much cool stuff here. So let's piece together a little Dutch graveyard, shall we, to fill a bit of a city block here within the town. I'm just going to reposition the actual graveyard about as centrally as I can guess it. I'm happy with that, I think. And then we'll start out with some upgrades. So I think first of all, we'll, map out our corners using these little arc pathways, I think. It'll be quite a lot of fun, that. So I'll line it up. I can actually draw the pathway out for these corners. Let's grab something like that. Then we'll have our corner arc. I guess that'll be a nice way to judge it against the rest of the build, won't it? We'll fill it in on those final corners. So I really hope that CS continues with this sort of modularity that Revo has just absolutely nailed. So we mapped out our corner sections. And then I'd love to have a bit of symmetry here. So let's grab our large pond. So I'm going to put two large ponds up at the top, either side. And then I'd love a small pond somewhere in the middle. About there, I think. Then I think on the sides, we'll do medium or large. I think large. And I'm going to plug two of these in on these nodes here. A burial site straight does fit perfectly in between, but it does block off those two path nodes, which probably does bother me. Two of those would stitch together. That does almost sort of turn it into a bit of a Zelda dungeon, doesn't it? Admittedly. It's beginning to look a bit like a dungeon puzzle, but that's okay. The hearse garage, I think I might possibly like across the street. This is all perfect here, so I think it'll look a bit out of place. Maybe across the road? Possibly, we'll see. We'll leave it there for right now. And then I'll place a burial site junction here, which should allow me to merge the ponds quite nicely. I can go over there. That can go over there. And this can come down and hook back into the street as well, I think. Probably give a hedge boundary all around the edge of it too. So let's move a bit of a graveyard time lapse and get all of this stitched together. Fantastic. So that gives me my repeatable graveyard pattern, which I love. And then we have these wonderful little 1x1 designated burial site areas that can be placed at will within the vicinity. And we'll do, this doesn't really matter which way they face. How many can we squeeze in? Possibly 2. And I'll also leave a few open spaces as though the grave space hasn't been filled yet. I don't want it to be too uniform either. Especially in much older graveyards, you find the graves can be fairly erratic. They're not too much in a row. We can fill it with burial sites, giving us our gravestone visuals. And I'd love some, I think, more tactically placed oaks around the graveyard here. Definitely respecting symmetry where we can come across it. Might have to move away from the oak in some instances with tree collision, unfortunately. Again, we'll mention it. Ice Flake, please address this so I can place trees where I like them, please. Let's hope so, everyone. Fingers crossed. And some bigger oaks in these corners for sure. There's a sweet spot. There always is. There always is. Well, actually, maybe. I think I might just oak line the streets. That way I can just not have to deal with collision at all. Yeah, okay. And then I am still going to do my green bush line as well. On small fill. Which one do we want to use here? Yeah. Wild green bush number 1. And this will just give us a little bit of a, I think, more definitive boundary against the street. An actual hedgerow as opposed to an individual line of single hedges. And I'll probably have another entrance here as well with a pedestrian crossing. And then one more bush. And super. So aren't they just such incredible features for your towns? Like actual custom graveyards? The sole reason alone to download the Netherlands pack for this. And I'll be pretty happy with that there, just sat in the town, right? Let's bring in some more Dutch residential. We've still got plenty of demand for it. I will have low density here, but not this close to the town. Let's maybe get some low density up this way. We're all going too deep. We're going to have to reaccommodate the blocks for this style if that's what we're going to do. Yeah, you're all too deep, aren't you? Okay, they can't be zoned like that then. It'll look terrible. I will do another block of medium density here. Although you're not playing fair, are you? Why have you fractured my grid? Why? You should be perfectly aligned, my friend. There we go. I think it was just aligned very so slightly off. And then we'll do another batch of medium Dutch density in there. And again, I don't want to take this build too far down, so I might use this road as my cutoff. I think I'll keep this all medium density residential blocks heading down the street. And the space in the middle will likely fill with trees, because these aren't super extendable gardens, because they're all hedgerowed. So we'll probably just tree it, I think, in the middle. And we're getting a lot of red brick in the visual now, aren't we? Which should really help start complementing the other side of the highway. Especially when we can see the rail depot here as well, right? Love this visual too. Let's get on one of these older balconies with that grain mill in the background. Isn't that such a vibe? Almost like older kind of social workers housing here. With the industry where everyone who lives here works just across the highway. Really like how that looks. Just reminded myself we should also give them a way to get off the tram down here. Because it doesn't bloody work, does it? And I guess also stop this side of the road as well. There we go. Cool. That makes the trams functional that side. And then over here, if we're going to reform our crawl from medium density, which I think I'm happy with it about here. And we'll have to go down to 4 deep grids in the outer suburb, which is fine. I'm likely to probably alleyway these roads. Maybe not this first block. We'll keep this as a regular road. It's really going to shorten the town having this in, but it's fine. So we won't fill nearly as much space, I don't think. And let's keep that going in big blocks. I don't want it to become too gridded either, so we'll use this road here as an excuse to change it. I can go uphill. Everything can intersect with that. Are you going to be outside connection? Just wondering why we're here now. Do we want to hook these in? Because we've got one waiting there. That's only 149 grand. Yeah, let's get those. And we'll plug this outside connection in finally. And that will plug into an outside connection. Of course, this, these days, goes to Ilium. Wonderful. Actually quite interested to see just how much use that'll get, as it has a gorgeous, probably one of the best approaches in the city, isn't it? That view there, down over to Benedict's and Upper Benedict's on the hill. Really looking forward to finishing that university. It's quite a gaping hole in the town there, isn't there? We'll get there with it, of course. Let's get that low density coming back in. So I think I'm going to go with the gable roof, or gambrel. Gamble or Gabriel? Not Gabriel. Gambrel? Gable. There's no angels. Let's grow all of that in. Cool. So they're very small assets. We'll see how they work once they're in a mass pattern. I can envision them crawling up the hillside as just outer-lying town. This residential block is not really at all turning out how I envisioned it. So I'm going to remove probably quite a lot of that. And instead I think we'll bring in another signature building here. We've got some stuff to use in our commercial pool still. I think maybe a pub on this corner. Will you be happy with that? Yeah, okay. And then again another excuse to fill an awkward street corner where zoning just simply wouldn't work and anarchy would stop anything from filling it. So we'll have a pub on the corner there. And we've also still got the supermarket from the UK pack, which I really like. And that basically sits and fits right on the corner on the way into the town. I think the UK and Dutch goes very nicely together. And again, it's more of the old faithful, everyone. Red bricks. Isn't that brick texture gorgeous? Look at that. This is the UK pack, of course. Solly, McWelshman, Rick 4000. Cool, based off of Morrison's, if you're not familiar. But, yeah, I'll have that there. That'll give us some more chunk in the town. And anything else you want to use, wouldn't also mind having the food station in here as well. This is one of my favourite unit buildings, this one. It's more chunky commercial. The antique store from Supply Chains, I think also comes in with our vibe, doesn't it? Yeah, that's fine. I'll have that come up as a bit of an alleyway filler here, I think. I'll respect the gap in the buildings. We've also got the Northeastern Inn, which I'm guessing is a hotel. Is it too out there, though? It's a bit more modern than the rest of the red brick, but I don't think it's a horrific clash, is it? Okay. Well, there you go, everyone. The antique store and the Northwestern Inn isn't a bad combination at all. I am losing some windows on the inside, but I can live with it. Okay, I'll have that there as well then. How do you feel about the housing? Yeah, I'm on board with it. It works, doesn't it? Once all the cranes have gone anyway. And then in terms of our mass outer line suburbia here, I'd like to address some connections with Park this way, which is covered in garbage. Garbage issues still persist, even though there's plenty of collection around the city. So we have a bike pathway coming down here. I want to extend this. This is the one that connects back into the town. Will you behave yourself on the river crossing? She will, perfect. And then I'll send this down onto the road. Super. It's all the right side, isn't it? And then can we upgrade you? I'll have the cycle in that side. And then we'll just have a pedestrian train crossing this side. That can hop back in there. Make sure we keep it the same side. So that lets people get directly onto the cycle networks connecting the two towns and also walking there as well. Not sure if there's scope for a bridge. Probably not due to all the kind of crazy terrain around here. That's okay. And then here, this is just going to be general outer lying suburbia. Which I think the Dutch stuff again, it's not going to grow large, is it? Yeah. We have too much room to fill here. So we want more of a generic housing zone here. Again, I'm loath to go back to Southwest, but it's just... it's such good filler, you know? It just works. I can't get enough of it. So we'll zone this in batches, although I don't think death waves are too much of a problem in CS2 anymore. We'll just let all this come in slowly but surely as the detail in time-lapse envelops up. And very much the centre of Hollandaise, which feels like a good time for it now. Lots of space of detail down here. I like to bring in some behind building car parking for this as well, because it's quite an awkward triangle to use. And then fill up all these little spaces linked around the town centre with props, benches, hot dog carts, more bike stuff as well. Hopefully we can watch this place just get busier and busier as all the outer lying low density grows up the hill. Indeed, out to the side, back towards Shelton. But as always, get yourself some snacks, and we'll be right back with some detailing. Let's have a little look over the new suburb of Hollandaise, shall we? Definitely part one of it at least. We can see the other part of the town to be expanded. Our southwest outer line suburbia always does a wonderful job. There's a number of parks which you can probably identify. Scattered throughout the suburb as well, just to keep everyone happy. But simple cul-de-sac roads, southwest park does a phenomenal job of just creating sprawl, doesn't it? So always happy to see it here. Forest now hugs the train line which comes into the town. There's not too many people cycling. There you go. There's one of them. But there is a few on the bridge at least, which is good to see. You can see them using all this green belt here. Very fun. A few more people down this way perhaps. Coming into town following the tram, we'll see a football pitch next to the supermarket. And a really nice alignment of assets. I think I really love the main street through Hollandaise. We have supermarket. There's low rent housing in here now as well. Our bus stop is also here. And all these assets settled in just really nicely together. There's some extended table detail in here at the back of these cafes and commercial spaces, behind building car parking, some expanded industrial and sort of delivery detailing down here as well onto those car parks, just to help create a bit more of a block. So I really liked how all that came out. Dropped in another school. We were beginning to drop back in to the orange on education. We've actually broke 100,000 population now this episode. So 102,000, so those education needs just needed to be met again. We did that with the basic elementary, with a few of its upgrades within orbit and extended texture work. With the police station nearby, there's also some Dutch low rent housing here as well. This is present in a few places across the build. We'll see other examples of it. Parking and concrete space before our Gable suburb takes over. In part 2, I'm not sure how far we'll take the rest of the suburb up the hill. I don't want it to go forever, but we'll see what happens as we begin to expand this side with that outlet more build, I imagined, and we'll probably finish with some more outer line suburbia. Not sure how far I want it to go up really. The map edge is still a ways away, so we'll see anyway as we get to that build. But coming into that, our gable roof design coming up into the suburb really climbs the hill nicely, doesn't it? Got some trees stuck in them as well before the suburb begins to dissipate, before those outside connections. National country roads get back on up here. And we can see a number of cars actually coming back into to Ilium, which is great. We're heading back down to our highway with the bypass system here. We were getting some pretty gnarly traffic over by this junction. So added a roundabout in here and also under the interchange because it was getting really bad here. So flow mechanic has definitely helped with that. It's still a little busy this side, but there's several outside connections using this junction. So I don't mind a bit of traffic down Main Street, you know. See one of our red trams coming out there from maintenance as well. Fantastic. So that's where that road goes, linking us back in toward the train station. We'll see more Dutch low rent here. Pathways, people using all this stuff behind the school now. Our pub on the corner has some appropriate bench detailing out the front. And there's a pillar from the Dutch pack, which is supposed to be a pillar for a gate, like a fence. But it works really nicely, almost as like a monument just on its own. Perhaps a nod to the heritage of the red brick of the town, right? Obviously an older, more industrial centre. So maybe that can be a light to remember those that have fallen and died in the grain silos, perhaps. Maybe we can go down that route. Expanded bike parking all around the edge of our big medium density blocks, and these have flown a number of places. Also added them in here with another road by the bus station, which is getting 36 people waiting here. But certainly serves as a nice little hub for our train station here, which is also getting busy, with 262 passengers waiting at this one, which is very nice indeed. All those parking roads getting some use now as well. People beginning to pick up the couplet system as a possible way into Hollandaise. You can also see the train leaving for Sunnyside Lakes over there as well. Really great sight line, that, isn't it? And then some landscaping here. Extra prop and service work around the foot of our unit buildings, which is really nice. Love the views of the medium density across this little town centre, right? A little bit more residential than I normally would have gone for in a build like this, but I think it came out quite nicely. More over here, alongside blending of textures. Finishing of the road with our Dutch stuff, with those car parks also blended in, which turned out great, didn't it? And then more of these blocks. Of course, our custom graveyard sits in here. We've got gazebos and pathways on the interior rather than just trees. Just to make it look like a little bit of a communal garden space, I suppose. If you live in these apartments, you are able to make use of the gazebo, etc. Nice way to use some slightly larger than normal blocks. We have more medium density and vanilla low rent also here with some sports facility. And then a little bit of industry by the foot of the Japanese radio mast, which sits by the interchange, bringing an end to the first half of Hollandaise, at least as the suburb begins to stretch over. But otherwise, a tremendously fun build, I think, with a really nice town centre design, especially with the views back to Yoti from here, right? It just looks so cool. I am really enjoying vanilla CS2 these days, especially with the bikes and the DLCs that have come. And I hope you're all still enjoying Yoti. This project has been a ton of fun to build so far, and I hope you are managing to take some inspiration from it if indeed you are playing vanilla CS2. There's still work to do over this side of the map, of course. I've probably got 2 or 3 more builds planned out here, but I really want to get back to Benedict to fill in that university because it's quite a gaping hole in the visual of the town at the minute. and we've not been over there since episode 6 or 7. I think next episode we'll go finish the university, place in the buildings and turn off the ones that we don't need until we do. So expect a university build next episode. An enormous shout out to the YouTube members and patrons that bankroll these videos with a roll call to our golden patron X. Casino, Spartan Angel, Michael W, Bad Wolf, Phoenix MD, Blythe, Jamin, and Greatsy. If indeed you are interested in that, there are links down to Patreon and Instant Gaming below, and a like for free does wonders for these videos. Enjoy the cinematics and I'll shut up and leave it there. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.